Greetings, great beings of light. My name is Ishtara. First and foremost tonight, we're going to ask everyone to take a breath. Take a really big, full, deep breath. And this is not a forceful breath. This is a gentle, slow, strong, complete, robust breath inward. For many of you are holding your breath. And in this next segment where you're going to be listening, allow yourself every now and then to refocus back on your breath. And this has been talked about before, and it's talked about in other places on the planet at your time. But when you talk about changing the energy of your life, you can literally create fabulous change with your breathing. Now, this is going to be really basic. Some of you know this. Some of you, this is going to be new, but this is new relative to the universal sphere. When one is wanting to travel in your car somewhere, and the most efficient way that you can move from point A to point B is when, for example, there are no stop signs, there are no stoplights, and there's no traffic, no pedestrians. Wouldn't you agree? You can just start out at point A, you can end up at your destination, and if there are no stoplights and there's no stop signs, no traffic, you get there, you're in this flow that has no impediment to it. So it's quick, it's efficient, and it flows. Now, what happens if every block there's a stoplight and there's 4 times as much traffic on the road that it was designed for, and an enormous stadium of 25,000 soccer fans are getting out and getting to their cars at the same time and crossing the road? What would that be like? It would be very inefficient. It would be slow. You might forget going to your destination. It would be frustrating. You'd be emotional. Correct? So, the clogged traffic is what you do with your breath every single day. And many of you aren't even aware of this, but you are holding your breath many, 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 many times a day. If you are desiring to create more energetic flow for change, for transformation, for alignment, allow yourself to begin playing with your breath, of really being in conscious, intentional awareness of it. And not just, I'm going to be aware of the fact that I'm rapidly breathing, or I'm going to be aware of the fact that I'm holding my breath. Those are good awarenesses to have. But one can also begin to have an awareness of, oh, I actually probably inhale for 3 seconds every time before I exhale. I'm going to practice doing it for 10 seconds and maybe even exhale for 10 seconds. And really, I'm going to create a balanced breath of inhaling and exhaling. And what happens with this is you're shifting the flow of energy so that it never is getting dammed up. The energy in your life literally mimics, if you will, the energy of your breath. Now, this could be discussed a lot more than it will be tonight, but the idea is, if you want to create change, begin paying attention to your breath as an indicator of how much you're flowing in your life and in your moment and in the changes and the transformations that you'd like. So let's go back to the food concept that has been discussed here tonight. And let's talk about it relative to breath. And let's say, for example, you've had experiences in your life where food has not been your friend for whatever reason. It could be that you have digestive issues. And so whole categories of foods, or maybe any food, creates a lot of upset and discomfort in your body. You could have fear around foods because you've eaten certain things and had reactions that could have gotten you sick, or again, not feeling well. So you could have some emotional relationship with food. It could also be because you can't eat enough. Your body keeps yourself so thin that you have trouble with food and you don't like it because you have to eat more than you feel comfortable with, but your body burns through it so quickly that you're always slightly underweight. And that could be a problem. And then there's the other problem that is prevalent in today's society where perhaps you aren't happy with food because you feel food is the creator of your body and you're not happy with the size or the health within your body. So there are all these ways that one can have an issue, if you will, with something that was said before is a vital force for you. While you're in a physical body, there is primarily, for most incarnational experiences, the requirement to eat something. You could say, no, 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 there are people who drink water and they're fine. There are people who breathe air and they're fine. There are exceptions, but predominantly, when you're a human in an incarnated experience, you require a physical sustaining substance to sustain the physical body. The physical body, by and large, needs physical sustenance. All right, so now all that's been said. Now, every single day, you're required to bring in this physical substance. And so now you imagine that you have a love-hate relationship with this food that this incarnated experience requires. Already that's a little problematic, isn't it? You hate it, but it's required. You hate it, but it's required. You hate it because that you don't feel well. You hate it because you think it's responsible for what's happening in your body. And by the way, it's not. But that's another conversation. So the idea is, here's this thing in front of you. Now, most of you, when you have a relationship with food that's challenging, and some of you would say, I don't have a problem with food. And you're going to be hearing this tonight and you say, oh, actually, I do. Many human beings on the planet have a problem energetically with food, one way or the other. And they make it the bad guy, if you will, when there are a lot of other things that are part of the creation of the experience that they're having. So now you sit down in front of this thing that you hate, but your body requires. And I hate it. My body requires it. My body requires this. I hate it. I'm not even aware that I hate it, but I have to eat it. So what happens to your breathing in that moment? You may not be fully aware of this, but your breathing slows down. And for many of you, it stops before you start doing this thing because you're bringing this thing into your body that you actually don't have a loving, friendly relationship with. So you could say, well, Ishtara, what are you talking about? Am I supposed to feel good about my food first, or am I supposed to breathe? What am I supposed to do? You could say all of the above. So you could begin by deciding and doing a sphere for improving your relationship with the food and understanding and respecting the requirement of the physical food to nourish the physical experience. But beyond that is, if you sat in front of this food, no matter how you felt about it, and you just took a moment and you just and allowed yourself to feel the breath and feel the flow, and be in flow with the food in front of you, you will begin to have a different relationship with it. And it begins with the awareness of your breath. And it begins with the awareness of wanting to have flow between your breath and your life experience and that other thing. And in this case, we're talking about food, but this could be applied to love relationships. Can you imagine feeling like you never have a good relationship and there you are going out on a date the first time? Don't tell me you won't be holding your breath the whole time, right? So the idea is whatever it is, if there's trepidation or awareness or really strong passionate desire, it doesn't matter what it is, keep your breath flowing with it. So going back to the idea of going out on a date with somebody and you say, oh my gosh, I've had 45 failed relationships. Of course, that's being dramatic, but I've had all these, I have a lot of history of failed relationships. Well, you already heard that. Where is your mind and where is your thinking? Your mind and your thinking is in the past. So you at least want to bring it to the present. So bringing it to the present happens like this. And a choice to be present in this moment and be curious about what is there to uncover. Instead of holding your breath the whole evening while you're out sharing the evening with this person who is potentially the next person to have a relationship with, instead of sitting there holding your breath that you're sure you're replicating the past, breathe into the space and create an energetic flow between you and whatever that experience is. And you can apply this to everything. You could apply this to a creative project you're working on and you feel like the energy isn't working, an inspiration that you'd like to have. It could be around relationship with money or relationship with other people. It can be about anything, but whenever you're thinking about it, and if there's any kind of worry, fear, doubt, insecurity, that's a lower vibration, quote unquote, and it's where the energy is more constricted. So keeping your breathing going, keeping it full, keeping it complete, keeping it relaxed, keep that belly going. Forget holding in your stomach anymore. Just let your stomach relax and allow your breathing to move in and out really at that level of your belly. And this is something you could read about. It's already out there in your world, but this isn't only about relaxation. This is about connection to your true essence through your breathing. And it's about creating flow in your life in anywhere that you desire more flow. And now, so this evening, this has been discussed about maybe a problematic relationship with food or a problematic relationship with relationships or whatever it might be. But the truth is, it doesn't have to only be solving problematic things. You can have something that is kind of working pretty well in your life and you'd like to make it even better than that. Create a relationship with that thing through your breath, through flow, and allow your breath to be the flow into the future that you're desiring. And some of you are going to have to listen to this a few times to really understand it. This is something also that isn't necessarily like a light switch, right? This is something that you'll need to begin to practice and see how you feel and play with it. And maybe put some reminders up around your home or your office or in your car or in your purse or in your wallet, where it literally might just say breathe or inhale, so that you're excuse me, constantly reminding yourself to reprogram that you want a new flow. You're desiring a new energetic experience, correct? So if you're desiring a new energetic experience, one way to tap into a new flow into this unified field that you're working in is really becoming mindful of your breath. And if you're really excited about it, start doing some research on the internet about breath and the power of your breath, because it's all over the place, and this will really support your universal sphere experience and becoming all that you can be. I am with you now and always. My name is Ishtara.